caused so much controversy here in town is on the water now. It's on a barge. It's going to go up the Intracoastal to Jacksonville. Then it's going to head over to the St. Johns River. Then it'll go south, and it'll find its new home at the Trout Creek Fish Camp. This monument has caused a lot of controversy here in town because it was built to honor 44 war dead, and some protesters saw it as a reminder of slavery, a reminder of other injustices, and wanted the monument removed. Supporters of the monument, including direct descendants of the families who lost loved ones, said that this monument should stay in place, especially in a town like St. Augustine, which is known for its history. The city is the oldest continuously occupied settlement in the United States. It was settled by the Spanish in 1565. So here, this is just about the end of the chapter of the relocation of this statue. There's the barge right there, and there's a crane there that's been removing the ramp that they use to cross from land over onto the barge. The journey is expected to take 12 or 13 hours. It's crucial that they go now because it's about high tide, and this barge could very well get stuck unless they get out of here at high tide. The water is extremely shallow here, just a couple feet. They had to practically run the barge aground just to get it in here. And now it's high tide, so the barge is up a little bit higher, putting them in a better position to move on out. So you can see the monument over there in the distance. It's in two pieces and weighs, according to a contractor, weighs about 50 tons. Thanks for joining Gilberto Otero and Mark Goldman. So what do you think of the monument being moved? Any opinion?
Absolutely. It should have never been moved. Never.
So this would have been better off leaving it in place?
Absolutely.
And do you live here in St. Augustine?
I do. Born and raised here.
So you probably grew up seeing that thing in the Plaza de la Constitución?
All these many years. Yes, sir, I did.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a sad day, really.
So a little nostalgic looking at it now.
Unbelievable.
Do you know any descendants who were on that mark?
Indirectly.
Yeah,
Not,
indirectly.
yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Plus he gets a new roof.
May I ask your opinion on the moving of the monument?
Well, you can.
And what is your opinion?
Well, the monument itself, I've lived here for 3 years, but my grandparents, my grandparents, my dad were all from here. We used to come down here all the time, and I used to see it all the time. I never really had an opinion. I know the Civil War is big here. I know a lot of people have some problems with some of the stuff with the Civil War, which is fine. This, the way this happened, all it was 4 plaques on there. All they had to really do was just remove the 4 plaques. That was before the Reverend Rawls and his posse got in here and threatened just about 60 style, either goes or it doesn't go. So instead of just removing 4 plaques, repurposing it somehow, this is what happened. Now it's costing St. Augustine $300,000 plus, don't know.
And it did seem, I mean, I
And
wasn't...
where they're moving it, who's going to see it past Route 13 out in Fish Camp? I don't see anybody visiting it just to see what's going to happen when they rebuild it.
Right.
In my opinion.
Right. Okay. And it came about kind of suddenly, didn't it? I mean, it seemed like they had decided to
Well,
just
she knows more about that than I do.
What can you say about it?
I was here I've been here 40 years, very much into the history.
Uh-huh.
And that was simply a Confederate War Memorial. It wasn't a monument to anybody. In fact, there was no...
Just to the
there
dead
was
of
no,
St. Augustine.
Yeah, no, there was no mark at all.
No Confederate flag.
Nothing on it.
Nothing.
It was, and the only thing that nothing even that glorified the Confederacy. It was a list. It was a war memorial built by the women, the widows, through bake sales and local money and all that. Built it to honor the men who died in St. Augustine but never returned. So there were no graves for those guys. The infantry died somewhere up, mostly in a battle in Kentucky. And so that's all it was. It's no different than the war memorial we have in the park to the World War I, World War II, and Vietnam vets. This was just a war memorial. And 2 years ago, when the whole memorial thing sprang up after Charlottesville, the city manager did research, made a big point that this was not a Jim Crow era monument. It wasn't built in the 20s. It was built after the Civil War. It was strictly a war memorial. And because St. Augustine is a city of history, and that had been part of our plaza history for over 150 years, it would stay, but they would add contextualization to it to explain why it was staying. They had a committee that met, selected people that met almost 6 months, come up with what was going to write on these plaques. And so that was it. So yeah, total reversal
So
of a
the
decision that a lot of people felt like a compromise had been met. A lot of people, the monument people, weren't real happy by putting contextualization stuff on it because it spoke for itself. But that was the compromise. And all the stuff. But Rawls has not given up on it.
And for people who don't know who Rawls is,
He's a
Pastor, Baptist pastor.
He lives in Gainesville,
I see.
but he has a church here in St. Augustine.
Okay.
But he's not a St. Augustine resident. But he comes in and he's basically been stirred up. And during the George Floyd protest here, he pretty much threatened to burn the city down if they didn't move this monument. So it got brought before the city commission again, and 9 hours of public input and from and
Can I ask who
they
you
pay.
represent?
Yeah, sure. I'm Tracy Eaton, and I'm an independent journalist.
Okay.
So anyway, to me it's a sad day for St. Augustine's history because
Yes, it is.
it's so much part of our plaza, and it's one of the few things that really represented our Civil War history. This was a town that was occupied by the North pretty quickly after the Civil War broke out. So,
Okay. Well, it looks like they're moving it. Let me just get a shot of it. Thank you.
Sure.
Excuse me. So here they are, This is the monument that stood in the same spot in St. Augustine at the Plaza de la Constitución. It stood there for 141 years, and now she's headed to a new home. The monument will go up the Intracoastal, north to Jacksonville, then it'll cross over, hit the St. Johns River, and then come down south and go to a spot along the river, a place called the Trout Creek Fish Camp. Okay, I'm gonna go over and try to get a shot of it going under the Bridge of Lions. So I don't know if I can make it over in time. The cops yelled at me when I went through here before, but I think it was because I got too close to the construction site. So just going to try to make it over there in time. So the movement of this monument really created divisions in town. There have been sporadic protests over the past couple years, but particularly been quite a few this summer. I didn't see any. I saw a few people who were opposed to moving it out here today. I saw a man who hung a Confederate flag, but then when I tried to get a shot of the flag, he had rolled it up and I missed it. So I'm walking over to the Bridge of Lions to see if I can get a shot of the monument. The place where the monument was taken from is right over here to the left, a little bit beyond that open air pavilion. That open air pavilion in the tourist guidebooks is known as the slave market. Okay, let's see. I see it over there. It's right over that way. There it is over there. How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Did you run over to get pictures too?
Yeah, sir. Well, we were told to. We got several co-workers on there.
Way to go.
I wasn't told to, but I do. Man, I'm about to fuck that. Man, here comes this fucking crazy bitch. We can't see me. I don't give a damn. I'll kick her in the fucking face. She tries to touch me. I tell you that. I'll fucking tell you that. Damn, I can't zoom in anymore. There's my boys, they on their way. We'll see y'all in a day and a half. Yes, indeed. Wait on the golf course. I got a prayer. Layla! Stay on the board! Stay on the board!
Okay.
Hey, it's either we move it or we get poured out.
I know, you're missing the point though. They're a bunch of fucking socialists.
Oh, we are?
No, the counselors.
Oh, well, don't be yelling at us about our problems. We just doing our job. That's all we doing. I got to kick feet at home, so this is how I'm doing.
Yeah, just like the Jews and I'll
Yeah, and where's this holding the Islamic flag? Or is that a Judaism flag? Yeah, that was.
Oh, you don't even
Jeff! How much time I fucking work?
Who, me? Me?
You know,
Careful
if
what
you're
you're talking about,
looking,
boy.
ain't you?
You better be real careful.
Oh, what? What you gonna do?
Call your man.
Go ahead.
You ain't got I don't need it.
Okay, exactly.
Shit, I don't need to call a man.
You ain't got no fucking man. That's probably.
Oh, really? Oh, really? Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, really? Oh, really? That's our vocabulary.
Oh, really?
Obviously, if you say
I have a
over
degree.
24/7.
So.
Agree. No, what?
Oh, you wouldn't know what that means. Of course you don't. Yeah. All class. Not an Israeli flag, a Jew flag. Isn't that nice? And you wonder why there's... Whatever, it is what it is.
So what do you think about it?
Me as a Jew, I'm highly, highly disappointed. 20,000 Jews served in the Confederacy. There's
Really?
Menorecans and people of color's names are on that war memorial. What I think is bad is Henry Flagler, who raped his slaves, he gets to stay. Or Ponce de Leon, who wiped out every single indigenous Indian that lived on this in the state for 5,000 years. They're gone. I don't see a statue for the Judicans. I'm saying it incorrectly, but you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
So
It's
you would have left it in place?
absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, thank
And
you.
like to talk about people of color sold downriver. Dead Americans are being sold downriver. So there you go. What has changed? What has changed? Is this any better than Andrew Jackson, who what do you call it? You know, did the Trail of Tears? I mean, when does it stop? When does it stop? When are people going to grow some balls and make it stop?
Thank you.
Tell those guys, no, it's not an Islamic flag. It's an Israeli flag. It's crazy.
Okay, so there it goes north on the intercoastal. I'm taking some still pictures, so sorry about the shaky camera. So it's going to be a 12 to 13 hour journey on the river. Okay, I guess that's all she wrote. I'll report again when they have it in its new location. I'll come back and do another report. And let's see here. So thank you very much for joining me.